Hey, thank you so much for joining us with this. Today, we've got a real special guest. This is Gill Andrews. She's a conversion copywriter and web page consultant, and she's going to run you through the exact process and structure that freelancers, consultants, solopreneurs need for their homepage to generate more leads and thus revenue for their business. So, Gill, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Pete. I'm happy to be here. And just very quickly, how we are going to structure today's, I would say, lesson, because I would like you to really learn something and to take something with you you can implement on the spot and maybe see the increase in your leads tomorrow. Okay, so the way we are going to do it is, first, let's talk about what makes a structure of a freelancer, consultant, solopreneur page effective. So what criteria we will be using in our review. Then I will review 3 pages from 3 very brave people who volunteered for me to do this in public. Then I will summarize and tell you what to keep in mind when you are thinking about the structure of your homepage. And then I will show you 2 homepages that are really simple but extremely effective, just to demonstrate to you that it does not have to be complicated. Okay, so let's dive right in. I will just share my screen. So technical stuff. And we start with something that is counterintuitive. I'm not sure. I mean, let me just move the heads here so that it doesn't obstruct anything. The goal of your homepage isn't to convert your prospects on the spot. I think just keeping that in mind already will eliminate a couple of problems, because I see so many homepages that really try to push the contact me option down the throat of their prospects. No, that's not the goal of your homepage. But actually, what is the goal of your homepage then? You need to give clear answers to the prospects' questions they have at this particular stage. They just landed on your homepage, and we are talking about prospects that either don't you at all, or just have very little knowledge about you, right? Because usually freelancers are not some kind of a super famous people where everybody knows what they do. So somebody Googled you, somebody clicked on your LinkedIn profile, looking at your website, and they have very specific questions they would like to see the answers for on your homepage. But it's not like in any order, right? It needs to be a natural order. We will talk about it in a minute. And of course, after they get the answers to their questions, they would need to be provided some options to take a next step. We will talk about this in a minute as well. So what questions do your homepage visitors have? Really very straightforward things. Who are you, right? What should they care? Why should they care? Is there something in what you offer for them, generally speaking? For example, like somebody says, I will help you generate leads. I will create you a website, in the sense of that, okay, what do you offer in general? Is it website design? Is it copywriting? Is it SEO consulting? What the hell is it? And then they say, okay, does it fit my needs, generally speaking? But then they also would like to know, once they see, okay, I am actually looking for a SEO consultant and you're one, what do you offer specifically? On the homepage, you need to tell them what specifically you offer. If you're a writer, do you offer blog content or do you offer web copy? This is also very important for them to make a decision whether to stay on your homepage, to read more of it, to explore more pages, or just to bounce. And the other very important question that many homepages fail to answer is, why should they trust you? There are so many service providers out there. Why should they trust you? And of course, everybody who is hiring a freelance or consultant is concerned about the quality of work. So this also should be addressed on the homepage. I mentioned the natural order of how the questions need to be answered. What does that actually mean? A natural order matches the internal conversation a prospect has in their mind, because they don't land on your homepage and their first question isn't, can I trust you? Or first question isn't, show me that you deliver results. They first need to know what you do, right? Then second step would be, they need to know why should they care? What's in it for them, the main benefit? You can't just randomly sprinkle those answers to those questions on your page. So it needs to have some kind of order. And this order needs to have a potential to make a shift in their minds to bring them closer to converting. It means that the order that you have on your homepage, after they're done reading whatever they read, they may not read everything, they may read a bit sporadically, but whatever they read, it needs to cause something in their heads. Because if it has no effect whatsoever on their state of mind, of their knowledge about you, their own problems maybe, your services, your structure fails. right? And the order is like just wrong. But this is about the theory, how the structure should be in theory. We have another variable to consider here is how people actually read web pages, how they interact with web content, because it's not a book. They're not going to open it, the page and read word by word from top to bottom, right? And you need to keep this in mind when creating the structure. So first they will scan to find the most relevant info, and they will consider the headings. If they have a question right now, okay, so what do you offer? So they're looking for heading like how I help, my services, what I can do for you, something like this. And once they found it, they may skip the testimonial we had in the beginning or some trust seals or whatever. They start reading. But they don't just start reading, and they're in that section forever. They start reading till they are bored, either by the content itself or by its representation. Because hello, attention span and visual monotony is as bad as contextual monotony, right? If their eyes see this like endless blocks of text or monotonous blocks of text, and they scroll and scroll and it all looks the same, it's tiring. And they will stop reading, and then they will scan again or bounce. This is very important to know when you are also designing your sections, because although we are now talking structure, you may think, okay, it's just like on paper, we will just jot something down. This section comes first, this section comes second. But we need to consider both the approach to structure, like strategy for the structure, as well as the implementation of the structure. I won't be touching copy or phrasing today very much, maybe just really, really very little, only with reference to the structure. So the websites we will be reviewing together today, I haven't read them. I haven't read them on purpose because we're evaluating the structure. I want my judgment to be imparted by what I already know is inside that section, because I decided to go inside and read the content. I would like to pretend I'm a prospect who's in a hurry, whatever, and who just wants to, and to see how fast I can find the information I'm looking for, and whether if I start reading, how fast I get bored. Let's put it like this. Okay, so what does that mean? What is effective structure? We just talked about, okay, how people read websites, what the goal of your homepage, what does that mean for the structure? So effective structure has a natural content order, is scannable, and each section sets clear expectations what to expect from it by having a clear heading. And the visual representation of all of that isn't monotonous or cluttered, because otherwise, even the best structure, that the structure is best on paper, it will just fail. Okay, so how would I review the structure in a minute? We are coming to that. I will ask myself, let me see, because these heads are constantly blocking my slides. Does the content order have this potential to shift prospects close to the conversion? Is it clear from the section headings what question is answered in that section? Does the structure answer the important questions at all? All of them. We just had 4, really. I mean, that shouldn't be that complicated. And whether the design is interfering with the clarity of the structure. So this will be the 4 things we will be paying attention to. And I will show you how to apply this to any website, your website, the client's websites. And I will show you 3 examples that I categorize as very, very typical structural mistakes. The black box, the novel, and the funfair. You maybe just like some, right now it sounds like some gibberish, but you will see that I think this, the way I categorize them is really fitting. Okay, so let's review some freelancer home pages now. So can you see the home page?
We can indeed,
Great.
yeah.
But before we start reviewing, it's really important to me that the owners of these websites who are gonna hear this critical feedback now, understand that whatever I'm gonna say right now has nothing to do with you as a person or a professional. I'm sure you're great at what you do, but it's just really hard to write your own websites, especially if you're not a copywriter. Even if you're a content writer, it's very different. So whatever you're going to hear right now, you 3 very brave people, I'm asking you not to take it personally. And if there's something you disagree with, please reach out to me and I will adjust my recommendations. Okay. So thank you again very much for letting us do it. And let's just dive right in. So we're looking at Nick's website, and Nick is a long-form content B2B tech writer. We're not going to look at navigation. We're not going to dive deep into copy. We're looking just at the sections using these 4 criteria that I just talked about. So let's first look just at the logical order of content. We have a banner where Nick says that he's Nick, which is already great because many freelancers, one-person businesses don't do it. It's important. You're establishing a personal connection. You need to show your face and say who you are. And Nick tells people what he does to just establish relevancy. So it goes into, okay, who you are and what you do, generally speaking. Then he has a call to action, then some client logos, and then a section called How I Can Help You. And then our problems start. I'm scrolling twice. I'm scrolling 3 times. I scrolled 4 times till I see something that is different from what I was seeing for 3 scrolls. So we have this big chunk of text that is completely unscannable, right? So this is actually our main problem. But okay, let's quickly finish looking at the structure itself. Then he has a testimonial, then featured articles, again, some logos and some things in the footer. To just summarize it and show you, I just summarized it. So for you don't need to go through it because this is how I suggest you approach your own structure review as well. You just take a piece of paper and you write just based on the content, what are your sections, okay? So, but with Nick, it's actually what he does well is that his headings match very closely the content, the questions that are answered in the sections. So I did both together. I just wrote his headings. You actually should do it separately. We will see in the second example. So first section, hello, I'm Nick. Then he goes straight away and asks people to see what he can offer. Then he has client logos, which is like establishes trust. Then he has how I can help you. Again, a CTA, testimonial, featured articles, client logos, which you can say, okay, this is actually not bad, right? He told them who he is, why they should care. And he has a section that is called how I can help. But as you can see already here, because we are writing the subheads as well, he doesn't have any subheads within this section, which would be fine if this section had 3 lines. But this section is 3 scrolls long. And this is why I call it a black box structure, where you have a section that is completely unscannable, and you are asking your prospects to just embark on this journey and go figure out themselves what exactly the part of how I can help you, what exactly they can take out from it. There is no way they can quickly scan it, take out some bits, decide what they're going to do next, get value. No way to get value out of this section quickly. And this is a problem, right? And so this is why I call it a black box. Let's look at a website that is similar to that uses the similar conversational structure where a person has long this addressing a prospect very personally and specifically, but has subheads in this section, because this also can go wrong. So from here, if you were to improve it, right, what I will suggest doing is to definitely make this section scannable, to split it into something where people can scan and see what exactly they're getting from the section. So this would be my recommendation to this homepage. Very quickly about the CTAs, because CTA also impacts structure. It's like a friction that you say, okay, look at me, this is what you can do next. I'm not a strong believer in CTAs in the banner for freelancers, especially not the ones that say contact me. Okay, Nick's probably links to services, which is the better choice, let's put it like this. But the thing is, you crafted your homepage with some strategy in mind, you organized about your copy, and now you're just letting people exit your conversation very quickly. It's like you're giving a presentation in a room and suddenly you stop in the middle or in the beginning, open the door and say, yeah, by the way, in another room, there's another presentation going on, right? It's already very hard to make prospects read your homepage in the order you want them to. It's hard to, keep them on the page. Why on earth would you, for the people who just landed on your website, who do not know you at all yet, right? You gave them very little information. Ask them to, do something. But okay, if you want them to view your services, okay, this may be not bad, but you just like, you're wasting this conversation you had on your homepage and all these brownie points the homepage can get you. This, you can maybe do it if you have a lot of leads from warm leads, if you have strong social presence, if people really already got, the value, got the gist of what you do, and they just want to see your services, that's maybe okay, not that bad, even maybe advisable. But if you're just starting out, if nobody knows you otherwise, I would really suggest let people read the homepage in peace. And at least provide them some kind of information that will make them remember you and remember, oh, okay, this guy, stood out to me because. Right now, this guy stood out to you because he has a button on the banner, right? Because there are more other long-form content B2B writers. So give them something first so they can, get more value out of what you're offering, and then ask them to take a next step. So this would be my 2 cents on CTAs in the banner in general. But okay, let's look at the second page that has this section of how I help split. Here we have Jared. Jared is a B2B healthcare writer. And let me just scroll quickly through his homepage. Again, a conversation starts, right? Sure, he has some highlights. He has some subsections. You may, the prospect will see definitely some kind of subheads. The homepage is separated in sections, but we are scrolling and it's the same text, the text, and okay, shoot me an email. And the only CTAs Jared had was shoot me an email, contact me. And although I promised not to talk about the navigation, there are just 2 pages one can look at. Why is this not ideal? Let's do the same exercise and write down first the content-wise what Jared has on his page. Let me just see, how can I, here, I need to click here, right. So if I just were to write down the essence of the sections Jared has on his homepage, we will end up with this: problems of the prospects, contact me button. More descriptions about problems of the prospects, then about him and the solution he offers, and then more about the solution, and then contact me. As we can see here, what's missing, important component that is missing here is trust. He doesn't have any testimonials, and this is already not, oh, sorry, he had testimonials. I just noticed them. But the thing is that the way they were implemented, they kind of blended into text. He did have a testimonial, Jared, sorry about that. But I looked at your page, this was the 3rd time I was looking at your page, and I noticed them only while looking at your page for the 3rd time, which already shows us that the implementation needs to be different. But let's take it one step further and just write down the subheads of the sections. This is the opposite of scannable. As we said already, one of our criteria was when they're scanning your sections, they will need to be able to match a question, one of these 4 questions they have in the head, or maybe some additional questions as well, but this is then nice to have, to the headers of your sections. This is completely impossible to do here. Crazy. You cannot have a subhead of a section that has like this much text. So what you have to do is, once again, I on purpose didn't read what's inside because that's not the topic. You need to rephrase the subheads. You also need to see, I strongly suspect that all this text, all this huge amount of text could be cut down and make it more succinct, right? Your prospects are in a hurry. They will trust you more if they see that you value their time, that you can keep things to the point. I understand you're a content writer, so I kind of sense the approach to the homepage as if you're writing a blog post. It's not a blog post. It needs to be the scannable structure. You can also have an image of a corridor. When a person enters your house, homepage is not your doorstep or anything. They are already inside your house. It's a corridor with the doors that have clear labels and enticing descriptions next to these labels to help them take or open the next door. It's not a book. That's why I call it a novel. A novel structure. You're not writing a book, okay? Very quickly, just for Jared's, a couple of, here we have this clear case of contact me right away. You didn't tell them anything. I would also strongly recommend to having a services navigation label, because right now this is non-prototypical approach. Your prospects Once they get bored of this, and believe me, they will like, okay, dude, I just want to see your services, and they won't be able to find any. So make sure that your services could be found at any time, right? And last but not least, regarding the implementation of this, please do not center text like that. The thing is, people, even when they start reading, they still try to kind of read fast. And when you have lines that start at a different position every time, it increases cognitive load. It creates friction that doesn't have to be there. Text should be always aligned either to the left, better to the left if you're writing in European languages that are read from left to right, or if you want to center it, not more than 3 lines, plus make sure that your text does not stretch from left to right all the way, because your prospects won't be able to read it without either turning their head or putting strain on their pupils. So you definitely put the margins here and align your text to the left to just make sure that you do not create extra hurdles, in the way of your prospect. So my recommendation, just to repeat here, would be just see if it can be made more succinct, and definitely rephrase the headers to match the questions that the prospects have in their heads. Okay, and last but not least, okay, well, this is like, I think this is the evolution of a homepage. First, we had a black box. We didn't know what the hell is in that section. Then we had a section that was this how I help, right? Split, but in a very ineffective way. People couldn't scan it, still couldn't scan it. Now I would like to show you a website that at first glance looks very structured, but only at the first glance. This is a website of Amy, graphic designer, and her homepage seems to have small, compact sections. Let me take you through it. She says what she does. She's a graphic designer for small businesses. Then she has an About You section. This is the services section. This is the CTA section. And then, section, and here section, there section. All sections are nicely structured. They're small. And at first, you may think, wow, that's actually great. But let's do this exercise we were doing all the time to see whether this is actually effective. Let me again switch to this image sharing. Okay, so here. I just went and wrote down again, the essence of the sections. What I do for whom, fine. About me, okay, fine. If you really explain, this would depend on what is inside the section. My services, great. Thank you very much, Amy. You have your services and you split it into 3 services with subheads, great. Book a discovery session, right? See how Amy has her first CTA here, not here in the banner, not after About Me, but after the services, after explanation of the services. This is indeed the natural way, to ask for the commitment once you already told them enough. But then weird things start. Okay, she has a lead magnet 1, lead magnet 2, something for free. Then she asks people to, commit, make a first step to giving her their money. Featured article, side hustle, again CTAs. As you can see, it's really long. So it's not a problem if the homepage is long. It just needs to be effective and serve the main goal. So as far as I understand here for Amy, the main goal is that they book a discovery session. I would rather suggest CTAs like exploring more about the services if you have separate services pages, because this was like a very short description of services. Maybe they would like to know more about her process or her fees or whatever. So if you tell them more about that, they would be more likely to book a discovery session. Because, among your prospects, there are so many introverted people who would hate to talk to you just because. They first need to be really, really, really sure before they pick up the phone. They may not even answer the calls of their friends and parents, right? Because they just do not like calling you. So you are writing them, asking them about discovery session without giving them enough information. So this is what I get just from looking at the structure. I am also a bit confused or concerned, let's put it like this, about this part where we can see a mix of get my free content and then immediately, or pay me money. Because the more CTAs you have, the fewer the less attention a particular CTA receives. And if you give people a choice between getting something for free or giving you money, they will probably go with the free option. So I wouldn't do this. This is like you lose focus. You disperse, you make it less effective if you don't keep focused. But this is actually not the main problem. I think what's happening here. I think the main problem with Amy's homepage is the implementation of this structure. Let's look at that, because we were talking about that not only concept should be fine with the structure, the order, but the implementation, how it was done, right? Graphic design for small businesses, okay, although I would wish this to be more specific, because at first I didn't understand whether she means graphic web design or generally design. So a bit more explanation, maybe what exactly she does. Then we have a header. I didn't write all the headers now because it would be way too long. I would like to focus on the ones that are important in the sense of how they miss the mark. So it's important to improve them. So the very first section is, hi, I'm Amy and I'm here to empower you. This only makes sense if customers come to you to get empowered. This header could easily be a header of a section on a homepage of a life coach. So unless this is really something your prospects are looking for, this will not be effective. It doesn't tell them what they're gonna learn here about. Let's put like this, it tells them that they will learn about you, which they may not want to do at this moment, right? You again putting the focus on yourself. I would recommend having more focus on them, their problems, and how you solve them. No, not like, okay, here's like 3 paragraphs, one of them is really long, where you talk about your career and stuff, right? This is not effective. You need to focus on your customers. What do they need to hear from you at this point? I'm not sure that they need to hear details about you, without the focus of how you solve their problems. And then this section, which on paper looked great because it was like my services 1, 2, 3. I think this is really unfortunate. Full service graphic design, okay, but now we get into some things that don't really sound as something the customers may be looking for. I cannot imagine that a small business comes to a graphic designer page thinking, I need perfect and pretty, or I need full files, or I need honest advice. And although we see here a clear split, the phrasing of this titles of the services, it's completely unclear what is inside. So when you are having sections that describe your services, make sure to have the subheads that represent your services in a way your prospects are thinking about them. So if they come on your page, they're thinking, I need blog posts written, I need website copy, I need, Google AdWords set up, I need Facebook ads set up. Call your services that. Don't call it perfect and pretty, don't call it magic, what was this, marketing magic, I saw it briefly on the website. Because the better, whatever words you have on your page, match the phrases your prospects use in their heads to talk about their problems, needs, and solutions they're looking for, the more effective your homepage will be. More about the implementation here. Design really gets in the way here. The thing is, in the design, whatever is logically connected should be also visually related. Right now, visually related things are, this is one part, right, horizontal, and this is one part horizontal. So these 3 blocks are connected together visually, and these 3 blocks, which is not the purpose of this. You need to visually connect these 3 blocks, in the structure. Not to mention all this centering. If you do bullet points, do it from top to bottom. Don't do it like this. This also looks pretty odd. What else I wanted to mention? The special offer header, subhead now of the section, again, is something non-prototypical. When you say special offers, it makes people think about discounts. But what you are doing here is offering them freebies. So if you say special offers, they may skip it if they're not interested in special offers as such, and they don't get the value out of it right away. What I would suggest doing, leaving just one lead magnet, it's already so hard to make people sign up to your list, download something for free, Why do you think that, presenting 2 or multiple lead magnets will be more effective? It actually counterintuitive, because you may think, okay, whatever, if I present like the 5 lead magnets, somebody will select something they like. It's not like that. You are overwhelming them with choice, first of all. And second of all, the more elements you have on the website, the less attention each element gets. So what I would do is rather put 1 lead magnet, but then make a really enticing description and tell them why they need it. Because right now, free motivational quote slide library, I'm not sure it's clear why a person would need that, right? As far as I understood from the Emmy's offers, otherwise, this is not what every client comes to her for. So either you need to explain what value it has, or just think of something that will be more effective. And also the overall impression of the design, because we said effective structure is also one that is implemented properly visually, is quite cluttered, right? We have here 4 columns that are extremely congested. We have very borders that are very visible, very strong, and like this kind of tile layout. I would also soften it a bit, so maybe remove this background color and so on and so forth. But definitely what you need to do, it's not a topic of today's video, but maybe look up the best practices of web design. They are not that many. One I already mentioned. What's logically related should be visually related. What's important should be visually prominent and stuff like that. They're just like a couple of rules, but it will help you make sure that whatever concept for your structure you came up with, this is also properly implemented, so you don't ruin it with your design, because pages are not only about words or even position. It's about like altogether colors and implementation. So this would be all from me for the reviews of the live pages. What I would like to do now, I would like to summarize and tell you the don'ts and do's for your homepage, and then we will look into 2 homepages that have really good structure. Let me continue with the presentation here. So the don'ts of your homepage. Don't assume that your prospects are interested in you. They're not gonna read like your novel about yourself, or your novel about your services that is like written in such a long way. Don't waste their time rambling. Don't forget to answer important questions. You just have 4 questions. It's not that complicated to answer them. And don't say what you want to say, but think about what do your prospects need or want to hear at this point. For that, you really need to know what you offer, really how it helps in the sense of the benefits that your offer gets people, and also their awareness stage. Do they know only about the problems, or do they already know about the solution you offer and actively are looking for the solution? In case of copywriters, for example, you would have prospects that already know what's copywriter, and they're already looking for, let's say, tech copywriter, health copywriter, whatever, or graphic designer, web design. But it may not always be the case. And do not neglect design. That is so important. You can easily ruin your structure. You can ruin everything on your website just because of the design. Which brings us to the homepage do's. Keep it scannable. Make sure subheads and headings have a clear and relevant promise. Keep copy customer focused. Always customer focused. What it gets your customers, not what you would like to say at this moment. Keep it extremely succinct. And don't let the design get in the way. It's probably that you may say it's a reverse of what we talked in the don'ts. It doesn't have to be complicated. Let me prove this to you. Let us look at the good homepage examples. I'm a pro now in switching screens. So this is a homepage. See, I was like so seemingly like seamlessly, and it's like wow, so natural. So this is a homepage of Diana, who is also a writer for pharmacies and for medical businesses. And you see the banner, scannable. She clear medical communications for biopharma, and then the benefits. So she says what, and then why people should care. Walk with me. She asks them to check the services. She also tells them where she's based, because this may be important to her prospects, and see how succinct that all is, right? Every section is really little text. Everything is to the point. Then she presents her services. The only complaint here I have is the centered text. It definitely should be left aligned. Then she has a testimonial. Okay, could be designed a bit differently, but really, I mean, it's still good, nicely placed. And then she has a view all services. So you see what she did. Services, this is 3 services I offer. View all services. She probably doesn't have, she decided not to link to individual pages. It's up to you how you otherwise structure the funnel that is after the homepage. She also tells about her process, which is also a good thing to do. If it doesn't have to be, I must say, but if you somehow can, you have prospects who are indeed interested in how you work, and you have a service that is homogeneous, not like 2 really separate services with 2 really separate processes. This won't be effective. You will just clutter your homepage. But if what you offer has a common process, it's also a good idea to tell them, you know, how you work, because you may encounter first-time business owners who work with you first time, whether you're copywriter, SEO consultant, whatever. And this puts them at ease, because people who come to you come with a lot of uncertainty. And the better you can ease their uncertainties, the more effective your homepage will be. And actually here, the sales part of the page ends. And after that, she presents her articles, and then even has a form to capture leads right away. Not a must. You can do it, see how effective that is. But have you seen how little text was it on this homepage and how scannable it was? It's indeed a corridor with the doors labeled, with a clear next steps, with a clear message of what people will find behind every door, right? But okay, you can say, no, this is a complicated design. Does it always have to be such a, you know, beautiful, in the sense of, not in the sense of beautiful, but in the sense of maybe a bit of, she maybe used some professional designer or some theme that was a bit more complicated. Let's look at another website that is so, you can emulate it so simply. The design is also beautiful. I really like it, but it looks simpler than the one I showed you, and it's really easy to replicate in the form of structure. This is the website of Samara Bays, who is an email strategist and copywriter. And again, you see the photo. This is, again, very important to show your face. She says, again, what she does, the same situation as with Diana's page, what she does, and then how it helps, right? Then she has trust seals. Then she hooks you in by telling you that she understands your problem. Because if you answer yes to this question, you can't help by reading, because she's like, okay, I understand you. Do you have this problem? And you're like, yeah. And then she has this part of her is resembles in approach all these novel and black box things we saw, this conversational, let me tell you something, you know, about you. But look how it's structured. It's extremely succinct. One line sentence, no visual monotony. The sentences, the paragraphs are of different lengths. She has bullet point lists. She has a question. It's much easier to scan. It's much easier to start reading and to keep reading. This is very effective. And see, she doesn't overstretch it, right? And then she tells you what services she offers. Here again, I will just say, do not center the text. The only complaint I have here, and maybe it makes sense to combine the strategy services into somehow one representation, because it's really a bit cluttered here. But this is really such a minor thing. This homepage already does 95% of the things that, like, you know, really matter really well. And then she has testimonials, and then that was it. This is so bloody simple. You know, if you would like to, you know, investigate more into what makes these 2 homepages that effective, do the same exercise we just did. I just don't want to repeat it, because I hope it's like evident from what we just did. But take these 2 homepages, write down the essence of the sections first, and then the subheads, and you will see how greatly it flows, how natural the content order is, how clear the promises that the headings match the questions that the other prospects have, right? So yeah, this would be all on the good websites. The last thing I would like to show you today is a freelancer homepage template that you can download and adjust based on your needs, because you may think, oh, okay, these are good examples for inspiration, but how do I do it with my own homepage? I will give you a link in a sec. On my homepage, you can download like this would be like an image with explanation that shows the structure of the homepage that would answer the questions the prospects have, and keep the page scannable, and even has a bit of a design in it. you can download it from my website and just then look at it, maybe print it out, and you can juggle the sections. You can see, okay, for me, what would be the best order of these sections? You may not want to put a testimonial right below the banner because you won't find a testimonial that adds value so much as in explaining what you do in greater detail. This is not a must, but the sections, how they are structured within themselves, this is how I would recommend you structure your own homepage. Sure, nothing is set in stone in copy and web design, but you need to know the basic or better practices. I'm not saying best practices, because best practices imply that it's always the case. I say better practices. You need to be aware of them before you start going against the stream, right? So if you would like to have this list, you can head to my website and either search for it, I have a search function, or just type in gillandrews.com freelancer homepage checklist template. You will land on this post that has much more information into how the copy needs to be crafted as well. But if you're interested only in the structure, you can just download this and you have this image. And I hope that it will help you. Sorry?
Yeah, sorry, to make it easy as well, we'll pop a link to this web, this blog post just below the video. So if you do want to get this template, just scroll down a little bit and you'll see the link and you can go there and get it straight away.
Yeah, thank you. This will be all from my side. So back to you, Pete. I will stop sharing now.
No, thank you. That was really good. Really appreciate that. So yeah, like we said, if people want to get that template, there is a link just below and that will take you to Gill's website and, to that specific blog post so that you can actually just download it. Is there any other places that you want to connect with people or where people can find you?
I'm very active on LinkedIn. I discuss in-depth topics. I always reply to comments who ask for specific advice or ask me a very specific question. So I'm very active there. You can just go to my website, gillandrews.com first. There's a link in the footer where you can find my profile. Just send me a connection request with a short message so I know that you've watched this video, and I would be really happy to connect. This is actually the only place I'm super active at because I try to keep my focus only on very few things due to the time constraints and my life in general. So LinkedIn would be the only place that I always hang out at. Maybe Twitter also. If you're on Twitter, then also Twitter. But if you would like to learn something, learn more for free, just head to my link.
Yeah, and I will say, well, your website tip of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is on LinkedIn. It's not every day, but when it comes up, it is.
Yeah, that's very true. It should be now called website tip of once in 3 days.
There you go. But it's not as snappy. It doesn't have that punch to it, but it is good. And also, of course, so we'll pop the links down to find Gill and all of those different downloads in the description below. And if you want to get notified of the other videos that are coming up, so we've got one coming up, which is about how to get around the limitations from LinkedIn messaging so you can connect with the right people. We got one on how to find, identify, and then improve underperforming blog posts on your website so you can find the best potential to improve, and some other SEO stuff that's coming up that you can either use for yourself or for your clients and sell that as a service. We got all of those coming up. There is, again, another link in the description below to get on an email list so that you can get notified of new videos as they come out, so you can be on top of everything. But I think that's it from me on this side. So first of all, thank you so much to finish off for your time.
You're welcome. Did I? Because I wasn't looking at the clock, to be honest. I was like, man, I hope I will not.
It's around 30 minutes. It's fine.
Okay.
We're good. So yeah, but again, thank you. And yeah, check the links down below and we'll see you in the next video.